Welcome to this episode of Meet the Village. Meet the Village is the program that features interesting interviews with residents here at Alegria Village. Today's program features 3 brand new residents. Our first guest today is Vera Buford. Vera's new home is in Hampton Square. She is up on the 4th floor in apartment 406. A little later, we'll be interviewing 2 newcomers. Our guest, yes, a couple, will tell their tale of their journey to Alegria Village. Okay, welcome to Alegria Village,
thank you.
Vera. How about we get started?
All right.
Okay, I told everybody you're a newcomer. What is your move-in date? When did you move in?
I came in the very first day of the year, New Year's Day.
Oh, my word, let the poppers go off and let's all celebrate. Okay, on to a more interesting item than when you actually moved in. Could you perchance be a local girl? Sometimes our new residents are from really far-flung places. Where did you spend your early years?
Right here in Detroit, Michigan. I was born here in Detroit and I've been here all my life.
Oh, about where did you call home in this big metropolitan city?
Well, I was really in the New Center area, and that's at East Grand Boulevard and Woodward Avenue.
Yeah, right there by all the big Henry Ford hospitals in there,
Yes,
right?
GM and the Fisher Building, all of that.
Right, the city center. Anyway, let's move on. All right, since you are a Detroiter, I just have to ask, where did you go to high school?
I went to the High School of Commerce, and that was right across from Cass Tech. We actually had a bridge that joined the 2 schools together.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not at all familiar with the High School of Commerce. It is obviously a business school. Now, since you went to that school, did you have any intention or were you hoping for a particular field to develop from this education at the Commerce School?
Yes, at that time I was enrolled in the bookkeeping curriculum. And my mother had picked our professions for us, and I was supposed to become an accountant.
Oh.
Right.
Okay, all righty. What was the next stop after high school? You see, you got out in 1962.
Yes.
And was it more education or a job?
It was really both. I went to Highland Park Junior College along with my sister, and I also had my first job, which was at Levitt Brothers Company.
Okay. All righty. And tell us a little bit about your time there. I understand you only stayed for a certain amount of time.
Well, I stayed there for 2.5 years, and I wanted to get some experience. I didn't believe in just working someplace for a couple of months. I actually wanted to work and, say that I had been at a place for a little bit of time.
Okay. All righty. Now, how is your career as an accountant coming?
I actually used that accounting when I opened up my own business in 1972. So it really paid off that I had taken the accounting because I could balance my own books and didn't have to have the accountant do every single thing. So I did use the accounting.
Right, okay, that's good. But were you using it at that point in your life?
At that particular time when I was at Levitt Brothers Company, I did the little accounting, I did a little Greg shorthand, just did a little bit of everything. So the business school, it really paid off in helping me to get that first job.
Okay. You obviously needed to work and go to school at the same time. Tell me about your first real job. I believe you were 17?
Yes, I was 17. That's when I was with Levitt Brothers Company. After that, the 2.5 years there, I was employed at New York Life Insurance Company in downtown Detroit in the Guardian Building.
Oh, okay. So that was the next step.
That was the next job.
In the Guardian Building. Now, when we met originally, you was telling me that at the Guardian Building you were a first what?
Well, I was the first person of color that New York Life Insurance Company ever hired. So I kind of set the record for that. And after they hired me, they hired their first salesperson, the insurance salesman, as he was the first male, but I was the first female that they hired.
Right. And as I say, you needed to work. So what was the pay factor?
Oh, it was much improved because at my first job, I actually started out making only $50 a week, and it only got up to $65 in that 2.5 years. But when I started out with New York Life Insurance Company, I was making about $90 a week, so it improved considerably.
Okay, glad to hear that. Now, I happen to know your background, and you made kind of a shift. All of a sudden, you started a new career. Tell us about that.
I did. I was actually going to school at that time to become a court reporter. I spent one more year at another job, however. I went to the Road Commission in the city-county building, and it was from there that I finished school, finished my court reporting training,
Right.
and I got into the court reporting. I was hired in Macomb County.
Okay. And by whom?
Okay. I was hired by the chief prosecutor for Mount Clemens, Michigan, and his name was George Parrish, and that was my first court reporting job.
Okay. It's a big name, and we just wanted to get it out there. Okay. Then what happened in 1972?
Okay, 1972, I opened up my own business, but from Mount Clemens, working up there in Mount Clemens, I got hired in at a freelance company, which was called Court Reporting Service, and the proprietor there was Herman Tappert, and I worked for them for about 4 years. And after those 4 years, then I opened up my own business in Detroit in the Penobscot building. That was actually called Tri-County Reporting.
Right. Tell us a little bit about that business.
Okay, I did jobs for more freelance jobs and just going to the different counties, like back up in Macomb County, Washtenaw County, and Wayne County, and taking hearings, depositions, statements, substituting for court reporters who had the official jobs. I would be a substitute when they needed to be off for any reason, like if they were sick, vacation, things like that.
Okay. All right. So you're moving right along. What happened in 1983?
1983, I made another change and I became an official court reporter.
Oh, tell us about that.
Okay, I worked for one particular judge there at the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. It was actually the senior Princess Edwards.
Okay. Now, I'm always amazed that you see these court reporters doing this. Tell us a little about this thing.
Okay, well, court reporters, we are certified by this here in Michigan, by the state of Michigan, and we actually write at 225 words per minute.
Catch that? 225 words per minute. I thought that was newsworthy.
Okay, and when we're writing, we actually put down identification, identifying the different speakers. When you're working in court, you have a symbol that represents the judge, you have another one for the prosecutor, you have another one for the attorneys. It's a very interesting profession, and I really love that I became a court reporter.
Okay, then how did you get all that mishmash on your little box into something that was readable?
Okay, well, we actually write in a coded form. The letters look like the regular alphabet. However, for instance, if I wanted to write like a period, I hope I can still remember this good, is STPH, the top bank. You just hit the top bank, and that represents like, a period or something like that. A comma would be a bottom bank, RBGS, something like that.
Okay, and these end up in typed form finally somewhere?
Well, in my day and time, we had to dictate every single thing that we did.
Okay.
But now the more modern
I got it.
reporters is computerized, and the coded form that you write in, it turns into English.
Oh. AI, huh?
You don't have to dictate anymore.
Okay, anyway, already. Now, I am aware that you retired in the mid-90s. Now, after such a busy and technical life and your brain so active with all these little details, what did you do to fill your time, to keep your brain moving?
Okay, I got interested in several things. I do like the ability that I have the right, so I helped out with the deaf and hard of hearing by doing captions, closed captions. The words that come across the screen, it really started out with the court reporters doing that.
Okay, give us some background on that.
Okay, well, it's pretty much like you write on the machine and it just comes up in English so that people can read it. And there are like 28 million, it's probably more than that, but when I started out it was like 28 million deaf Americans that needed the closed captions.
Okay. Now, what about your work with literacy?
Okay, I am a certified literacy coordinator, and I was certified by Dominican Literacy, and then I also did some work with Siena Literacy in Bishop Borges High School.
Now, when we had the pre-interview and I was getting all this information, you mentioned something about books in the village?
Yes. After my stint with the literacy program by Siena Literacy, I could no longer work with them because it was a government program and they would only let you stay there for 2 years. So I continued by opening up my own little literacy program, and mine was for children, and it was called Books in the Village.
Oh, okay. I'm glad we got that in.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's go back to the closed captioning, because you know how people are always looking for volunteers to do things here at Alegria Village. Is there any possibility that we could possibly have closed captioning for CTV sometime in the future?
Yes, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, you have a plan?
Yes, with the administration and with the director of our TV program here, Chris.
Oh, evidently I was not privy to those discussions.
Okay. We're going to work something out because it would be very helpful.
Okay. Well, let's get back. Well, this is today, so we don't have to jump back today. Okay. How did you get interested in senior living?
Well, I decided at some point that I wanted to move out of my home that I had lived in for 30 years. And I wanted to get an apartment. And first it was just a regular apartment, and then, independent living. But then I was looking into moving into a senior living where they would have everything geared towards the seniors and the needs of seniors. And so that's how I started out with my interests.
Well, how did you find Alegria Village?
Okay, it was like 20 years ago when I was kind of changing my mind about living in my home. I actually visited, this complex over here, but I wasn't really serious at that particular time. And it took me like 20 years to kind of make a decision that, it's time for me to consider moving into a senior complex. And this here is just quite ideal.
And how is it ideal?
Okay, I like everything that Alegria has to offer. They have just everything. They have activities, and they have so many activities. This is just like every hour it seems like that they have something going on. And then they have many of the services that seniors may be in need of. Say, for instance, if you needed to go to a dentist or to the podiatrist, or if you need a little therapy, they have just everything. They have a swimming pool. They have the whirlpool. They have the dining rooms. They have the exercise room with all the equipment in it. So it's just so many things here that that a senior would need.
And what have you been using so far?
Okay, let's see. Of course, I go into the dining rooms, because you want to have a good meal.
Absolutely.
And I'm a part of the Bible reading group. I love being in there. And I'm also joining the TV crew. I like helping out with that. And I also am doing a little program on Sundays now, an inspirational hour. And so there are many things that we can get involved with here.
And you're right in the process of doing so, correct?
Yes, as many as I can.
Okay. Okay, now, you're moving. How did that go? Was that okay?
Well, they weren't quite ready to receive me because I was Johnny on the spot. I was ready to move in exactly on New Year's Day. So I had to wait just a couple of hours, and then I was able to move right on in.
Oh,
No problem.
no problem at all?
no.
Everything has a home? Everything's in the proper place now?
Oh, well, I'm hoping that it will be eventually.
Eventually. Don't feel bad. I still have some paintings that haven't been put up, and I've been here 10 years.
Okay, it takes a while to get all those things
yes,
unpacked.
you always
right?
bring just that little too much, and you don't
Yes.
really want to part
Right.
with it. Well, we're drawing to a close here. Do you have any final comments you'd like to make before we sign off?
Not too many. I'm just, at this time, I would like to say, give my little ministry a little plug.
Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, the Inspiration Hour. It's at 1:30 on Sunday afternoon. And we're looking just forward to being a blessing to the residents here and just having a little bit more church going on.
Okay. Sounds great. Oh, Vera, this has been such a pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you. And I have never met or even never talked to or even met a court reporter
Okay.
before. So this is a new experience
Okay.
for me. I thank you for joining us today, and I thank you for the effort put into coming here, because I know it was a big chore for you. Is that
Okay,
yeah.
thank you very much. My pleasure.
Okay. Now you out there, our community TV audience, please stay with us. Coming up, we will visit with residents Patricia and Robert Dooley. You will enjoy meeting this new entertaining couple.
Mom, did you really need to buy 2 can openers for our emergency kit?
I can't help it. They're 2 for 1.
Start a conversation with your family and plan together for emergencies.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time.
And she'd buy the same gifts over and over.
Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first, we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together.
It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us, but try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same. But you have excuses because you're old, so it's okay.
Listening is a form of love. Find ways to support your kids at sounditouttogether.org.
So glad that you, our audience, decided to stay with us. You will not be disappointed. Now, if you are just joining us, you are tuned in to the second half of Meet the Village, the program designed to introduce new residents to the greater Alegria community. Now, our guests in the second half of today's program are Robert and Patricia Dooley. The Dooleys are now calling Berkshire Gardens 122 their new home. I personally want to say welcome aboard to the both of you. I think we should probably get started. Do you think that's a good idea? Okay. All right. What is your move-in date?
January 1st.
Another January 1st. All right. Vera, who was here just before you, was a January 1st as well. Okay. Now, does your apartment feel like home? I mean, is all that stuff you brought all put away in its place?
Mostly. Some things are in odd locations. Yeah. The Christmas tree in the closet.
Oh yeah, that happens. That happens a lot. Okay, Patricia, I'll start with you. Are you a local girl?
No, ma'am.
No, you're not local?
No, I had never been to Michigan before.
Oh, this is your first?
I followed him.
You followed him.
Yeah.
Well, let's put him aside for a moment. And where did you start off life's journey?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. And for how long were you in Connecticut?
Oh, 16 years, I think, and then my family moved to New Hampshire.
Okay, so you did high school and all of that in Connecticut.
Yes.
Okay, Robert, and where are you from?
I'm from Detroit, Michigan, born and raised.
Now, okay, metropolitan area, about where? It's kind of big.
Well, it was on the west side of Detroit, Livernois and Elmhurst area. Is where I went to middle school and elementary school. And
Okay, now since you are a Detroiter, it's important to the rest of us. Where did you go to high school?
I went to McKenzie High School.
I know
Very
Kamenzi
proud.
High
Yes,
School. I actually went and sat through one of their football games.
Ah.
I cannot remember if they won or not, but I was there. Okay, while at McKenzie, did you excel or have an interest in anything academic or sports directed?
Well, that's an interesting question because, unfortunately, for other life experiences, it was a very difficult time for me.
Oh, okay.
But because of sports, that I excelled at that, so that made, life and that high school experience a lot
Okay,
better
well,
for me.
what sport did you excel at?
I played them all: baseball, football, basketball, track.
Was one better than the other?
I would have to say probably basketball,
Basketball?
and baseball were the two
Okay,
best.
well, that's just great. Okay, let's get back to you, Patricia. What did you do right out of high school?
Well, right out of high school, I worked in this little town of New London, New Hampshire for a little bit. And then I thought, I need to see the world. And I know you can relate to this.
Yes, I can.
So I joined the Air Force.
Off we go into the wild blue
Yeah.
yonder.
Right.
Okay, sounds great.
right.
All right, so when was that? About what year, what decade?
What decade?
Well, I think in decades. It's not a put down. I think in decades.
Yeah, I know. That was 1971.
okay.
I turned 21 on my first day of basic training.
Okay, and where was basic?
Lackland Air Force Base in Texas.
In Tejas, yes, indeed. Okay. Well, tell us, how was a female treated? How were you different from the men who were all at boot camp at that period in time?
Well, part of our training was that they taught us how to put on makeup. I gotta think they did not teach that to the guys.
Okay. Well, I think that answers the question.
Yes,
It really does.
yes.
Okay, so you had just basic training. Then did you go on for any additional training?
Yeah. Then I went to Keesler in Mississippi to become an air traffic controller.
Oh, and where did you do that?
My final base was in California at Mather Air Force Base.
Okay. Well, tell us a little bit about that job. Sounds very responsible.
It was kind of scary if I thought about it. I think almost I was too young to think about it. I was like a kid today playing video games. We were looking at a radar screen. I didn't really think about it as that's a plane and there are people on board. And if I mess up, I could kill somebody. I didn't really start thinking about that until the first incident that happened while I was there. I was not the controller at the time, but it was scary.
But that's one thing about the military. They just tell you you can do all these things. They expect you to do them, and you usually do a pretty good job at it.
Sure.
Yeah, so how long were you in the Air Force?
4 years.
4 years. And 4 years in the Air Force, what did you take away from being in the Air Force? What would either the most personal thing, something you learned, anything of that sort?
I learned that Thunderbird pilots are jerks.
The Thunderbird pilots?
Yes.
Well, I could tell you a story
They
about
are
the
very
Blue Angels, but
arrogant.
we won't go
I
into
learned
that right now.
I learned that I was quite capable.
Well, that sounds better.
I thought, yeah. Well, I had to throw in the other part.
We'll talk about the Thunderbirds and the,
Yeah, okay.
and the Blue Angels later.
Oh, the Blue Angels. They probably were too, but I didn't really.
I've got a
get
story,
that.
but we'll do it later.
Okay, so yeah, to be able to do that job and to excel at it. Yes, and then I also took a couple of college courses on the base because they were doing that. And that's when I thought, oh, I'm not so dumb after all. I think I might, continue with this. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let me switch to Robert for a moment. Okay, the glory days of high school sports are over. What did you do at this point in time?
Well, after I came out of high school, I kind of dallied in trying junior colleges and whatnot. But then I eventually found a job and served an apprenticeship at General Motors at the Technical Center.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, I started, to make a long story short, I started cleaning toilets, and I finished designing cars.
Designing cars.
Absolutely.
Specifically what? Because I know it's usually bits and pieces.
Yes, I was a clay and a wood model maker, and we worked at design staff. We did all of the concept vehicles of the future, and for the auto shows and whatnot.
Oh,
And
that
so
bet you
that's
that
pretty
was
much it.
really interesting.
Yeah, it was quite a journey, from the outhouse to the to the big house.
Okay, how many years were you with GM?
33 years.
33 years.
Yes.
Okay, then you have a retirement check coming.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds great. Okay, well, thank you for that. Okay, Patricia, you are out of the Air Force. What was the next stage?
Well, I got out actually a couple of months early so that I could start the fall semester in the local college. So that's what I did. I mean,
And
I
who
was
paid for that?
The Air Force did. Well, the VA did.
GI Bill.
Yeah,
The GI
Bill.
Bill, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention this, but 1971, if you know your history, the Vietnam was still going on. We hadn't left there yet, and so I got the wartime GI Bill, which was quite generous at the time. I think I worked part-time somewhere.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And what were you studying there?
Initially, I didn't know. And it was at a time when they did not require you to declare a major.
Oh.
And I was so in love with the idea of being able to take any classes I wanted to that I kind of went all over the place.
Okay.
And eventually settled on,
Oh, okay.
because I had enough units, environmental sciences.
Oh, okay.
So that's what my bachelor's degree is in.
Okay. And how about the first job you had in this field or associated with it?
The first one was Water Resources Board in California.
Okay.
And not as fun as it might sound. We were reviewing plans for sewage treatment plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you are getting into this.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Did you ever get into public administration?
Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that.
That was some years later.
Oh, that's okay. We're moving right
Yeah,
along.
moving right along. Eventually, I became a city planner.
Okay.
That was in Fresno, California. Yeah.
Okay. And how long did you stay with that?
14 years.
Oh, that's appreciable.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a while.
All righty. Right here. Now, 14 years. So why did you terminate there?
Very personal story.
Okay.
That I won't talk too much about because it would make me emotional. But
oh, okay.
My father died.
Oh, okay.
And
yes.
I did the eulogy for him at his service, and I thought, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be, in the pulpit.
Oh, okay. No, I understand that.
Yeah, and so I went back to California trying to talk myself out of this, and finally decided a year later to go to seminary. And that's, of course, when I quit.
Over
my
there.
job.
Okay, fine. So we're moving right along through
Yes.
life cycle.
That is very
That sounds
quick.
great to me. Okay. Well, we can't put this off any longer. Where and how and when did you two meet? Robert, go with it.
Well, yeah, that's.
This is the fictional version.
Oh, okay, you got that
it's
fictional
the
version.
best-
We'll
the best
recheck
part,
for
yeah.
facts a little later. Go, you're
Really, I guess at that time, after I retired, I was went on a little adventure with some friends. We were golfers at that time, and we spent the winter in Georgia. And as they were planning on coming home, I just decided to stay.
Okay.
And so what I started from that point is I just started volunteering. I loved working with children and whatnot. So I got involved there, but then it led me to Florida.
Okay.
Where I started a big STEM and golf program down in Orlando.
Okay,
in the
STEM,
city of Orlando. And it really went beyond my wildest beliefs that the fact that the people that were involved, you know, the senators, the mayors and whatnot, in this process of what we were doing in the inner cities for these underserved children, and introduce them to the game of golf and the business side of golf, which is where I was
Terrific,
going,
actually.
you know.
Very good.
So from there, you know, one thing kind of led to another, and then I moved again because I got a little bit, you know, for lack of a better word, disturbed with the direction that they decided to take the program.
Oh, take all your effort, your original idea.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know, because I was not a business-minded person, but I was a program developer, and that's what I learned through General Motors. And you know, when you have an idea about something, how to go through the process of what it takes to get the job done.
Okay, now you are on a downer, and you're supposed to now be telling me how you met Patricia.
I was going to say, did you forget your question yet?
This is the best part.
You could go.
Okay. Because see, through all of that is the reason why I ended up where she was at. Because then I picked up for that reason, and I moved again. And I moved down to the Tampa area. And that's when Pat and I met.
Okay. Any changes to that?
Well, that was a much more elongated explanation.
No, that's okay.
Than I thought he was going to give you. But yeah.
Now the two of you met. Something drew you together.
Okay. The same thing that happened with Robert is how I found my dog on Pet Finder.
All right, let's get through this. I don't even have that in my notes. Keep going.
You don't? Okay. I fell in love with my dog's picture, and I fell in love with his picture.
Oh, now I get the connection.
Yes.
Okay.
We were in a meetup group together, and I kept hoping I would meet him because I liked his picture so much.
See, folks, I told you this was going to be good.
And we never did meet. And so finally I just sent him an email over the meetup group and said, I hope we meet sometime.
Okay. All right.
So
I understand that's how it's done these days.
That's actually how we met. It's because he responded. But to carry his story a little bit farther of the nonprofit that he started in Orlando, he brought it to Clearwater. He was in Clearwater at the time. And it so happened that after we met and he was telling me about it, I said, oh, isn't that interesting? Because I had been teaching at St. Petersburg College. And one of the classes I had been teaching was starting a nonprofit.
Oh,
so
click.
I had the books and everything, you know, I
Okay.
knew how to do it. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And then somewhere in here, I know you two got married. When, where, how?
Yeah. I'll let her
You're
tell
gonna
it.
tell
'Cause she's gonna
Well, you know the
embellish it,
date. You know the date.
Yeah.
He decided we should get married on his birthday, so he
Okay.
would remember the
forget.
anniversary.
Okay.
Okay.
I thought that was a wonderful
It was a
idea.
good idea. It was during COVID that we decided to get married, and so we got married on Zoom.
Oh.
Everybody asked this. We were in the same room.
Yeah.
The man who officiated
Right.
at the wedding was in Michigan.
Was in Michigan.
Yeah.
It was my best
Yeah.
buddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then other people joined in. We had guests and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were the Zoom presents like?
I know. We got cheated out of that.
That was the downside.
I said, when we get to Michigan, we need to, redo our vows and have a real wedding.
Oh, with a
Don't
real
you think?
reception.
And a real reception.
And maybe real presents.
And real presents.
Right now, let's get it over with.
Okay, no, that's great. That does kind of fill in a lot of the blanks. I like your sense of humor. Really, that's so necessary and fulfilling. Okay, we're gonna skip now. We're back in 2025.
Oh.
Okay. Unless, do you have anything else about the past to say? Because we're back in 225. You good?
We're here now?
I think so.
We're right
We'll
here.
check here. Yeah,
Okay.
I think
Okay.
we are. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Robert, what made you consider senior living?
Well, I had an incident on a golf course in Florida
Oh,
where I passed out.
No, that's
and
not
when
good.
I woke up in the hospital, and then they diagnosed me with CLL, leukemia.
That's the version that, the slower moving version. That,
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the wait and see.
Because I have a
version
sister
of
with
it. Yeah.
CLL,
And,
yes.
for me, that the clouds and everything, pretty bleak. So actually, I was in a state of panic.
Okay.
And I thought that, at some point the best move would be for me to go back home.
Okay,
Where my
and so
entire family is here. We would have some support because her wonderful brother, who I met, they were, back home where she grew up. And I just thought we would be safer if I came back home. So actually, she was the one that got on the computer and found Brookdale. And we knew that we were just going to, have someplace to land and kind of get a feel on where we would finally settle. And then she found this place too.
Okay.
And it was like, okay, this is it. This is home.
Okay. And how long did that process take to make up your mind?
No, it didn't take much.
Didn't take much at all?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you've answered that question. Now, specifically, what did you like about this facility?
Well, there were two things that caught my eye: the golf simulator and the swimming pool with the hot tub. Okay, and got all excited about that. Packed up, moved in, and then they're not working.
No, they're not. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that was, and it just.
That's just temporary we're talking about. It's not that they're gone, folks.
Right.
They're still here.
Yeah.
In fact, I just
They
had
were
a
down.
voice message the other day that the pool was now again open.
Yes.
It is.
I
Have
went
you-
yesterday for the first time.
For the
since we've
first
been there.
time. Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's good news. I'm so
Yeah.
glad about that. Okay. So you like all of those
Oh,
things?
absolutely. I think this place is, I guess the best way I can put it is that we deserve to be here.
Oh, well, that's direct.
Yeah,
It is very
really, I think this is a blessing that, I never envisioned what this would look like and how it would look like, but I'm thinking this is one of the best case scenarios that I could have ever came.
Well, true, and there are many opportunities here. You talked about all your period of volunteerism
Yes.
with young people in particular. Well, the opportunity for here is volunteerism to helping to take needs of senior citizens.
Yeah.
So that's one facility here that is open to everybody. To
Yeah.
Just join in and let's share the work.
Exactly.
Yes, indeed. Okay. You did talk about the apartment not being ready. How long did that take? What was the delay on that?
There really wasn't any.
Oh,
There wasn't
okay.
any delay.
Okay.
There was one apartment that we had agreed on that was in Chapel Court, and it was looking out where the duck pond is, and it was kind of funny and not so funny. Is that Robert and I were just wandering through the halls. We hadn't actually moved in
Got
yet.
it.
We were just trying to get the lay of the land and all that. And we ran into the woman who was in that particular apartment that we were supposed to get, and she just casually mentioned, "Oh, well, I'm not going to be leaving until mid-February." So, I mean, we're packed,
Ready to come.
We're ready.
Yeah.
And the salesperson, who had been working with us, who was absolutely wonderful. Should I mention her name?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Cheryl Sims.
Yes.
She's great. She is great. She just heard this the same time practically that we heard it, and we ran into her in the hall.
Timing's
And,
perfect, yeah.
and we're like, what? February 15th? What?
So she found you something else.
So she found us something else. She kept trying with other one, and we kind of went, no, we don't really want that one. And then she found this one, and it was like made in heaven. I mean, right, the putting green is right in front of us. The pool is right there.
And it's beautiful to look out the window
It's
at night. Oh, it's
beautiful.
just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
So
the St. Clair courtyard is gorgeous.
Right.
Absolutely gorgeous.
This was much better than the apartment that we had.
Well, I am so glad to hear all that. Now, do either of you have any last-minute comments to make before we sign off? You don't have to, but I just give you the opportunity.
No.
Okay.
I
That's
I was trying to think, because Robert is back here in his old stomping grounds. His relatives are here. People he went to grammar school are here. I don't know anybody.
Okay, so you were in a state of transition.
I am
okay, fair. You see, Patricia, all of you out there, we're going to be nice to Patricia.
That's
Make
right.
her feel
That's
very
right.
welcome. Take care of her, and we'll all have a wonderful time doing that.
Yes,
Okay.
it really suits me okay because I'm the kind of person, this is sort of good, sort of bad. I make new friends wherever I go. I don't have a lot of old friends.
Oh, well, you
I
can
mean,
make them here.
Maybe 3.
Yeah, well, you can make them here.
So, people have been really friendly, and I would say that is the absolute best thing about being here.
Okay,
as far
I'm
as
so
I'm
glad to
concerned.
hear that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to skip you. You go into too much. No, go
That's
ahead.
my life story, by the
No,
way.
if you have something, one final comment, please go ahead.
No, I have to agree with basically what she said. I think, number one, because of our spirits that, of giving, we've always served, and, to come into where now that we're being served, and then we're serving ourselves at the same time. So it's quite easy, the transformation, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of feeling like I'm home now.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, the both of you, for sharing your story and taking the time to have the meetings necessary and everything, and to come on down here. Okay, it is many residents living here and the stories that they tell that make Alegria Village an interesting place to live. There are many stories like yours. Little different tone, a little different shade here, but that's what they are. But the learning continues to go on and on. So I agree with all of that. This is a wonderful place to be. That will wrap it up today for this episode of Meet the Village. For Community Television, I'm Michaeline Larson.